So we look at the two first ones where it's talking about the hardening and the shallow heart, and it says like one who receives the word but then obviously falls back into doing whatever they're doing.
Yeah.
So does that inquire or does that imply that they receive salvation and now they're lost it?
Good question. It was almost like Jesus was giving analogies to kind of amplify, to show that they never received. So the thing is, he was showing, because back in those days, they were farmers by trade. Most of them, it was a more agricultural society. So what he was saying like, you know, the ending is better than the beginning. Because many people focus on the beginning, the seed was sown. The seed being sown can imply you heard, but you didn't understand. See, the thing about it, let me finish it real quick. The thing about that is, let's say real quick, because this thing would delete on me. All right. Basically, people were so consumed with the kingdom being now that they heard, even the text says, I speak in parables, because it's only going to confuse them. Only those who genuinely want to know will ask. Everybody was cool. That was a great story, Jesus said. Eat the chicken, eat the biscuits. But those that was like, oh, so what? What does that parable mean? Those are the people. See, the parable was like a way of throwing it out there and seeing who's going to really come and ask the meaning. Right. Those who ask for the meaning show that they want to understand. That's why you notice that Jesus chose people who wasn't Pharisees, because those people's hearts was harder because they were self-righteous. I already heard, I know the Torah. I know those people knew that they wrapped it on their arms. They knew the word. That's why knowledge don't mean anything. Power means everything. So people, they know the word, they've heard the word, they've received the word per se here, but it never changed here. This is the heart. The mind and the heart were meant to go together. And what most people fail to realize is they separate the two. Either you're overly intellectual or overly emotional. They were meant to be working together. The mind was designed. That's why the Bible never talked about having the heart of Christ. It said the mind of Christ. The mind is what is used to guard the heart. Because that's why the Bible talks about you cast down vain imaginations. Well, I keep forgetting the text. Someone find it for me. We cast down vain imagination, every thought that exceeds high. Well, we'll get there. What the text is saying is that there has to be a filter here. 2 Corinthians, yeah, it's in there. So basically, there has to be something here to purify influences or suggestions. What is it? 2 Corinthians 10. What's the verse? Right here? Okay. For though we walk in the flesh, we are not waging war according to the flesh. For the weapons of our warfare are not carnal or of the flesh, but have divine powers to destroy strongholds. We destroy arguments and every lofty opinion raised against the knowledge of God, and take every thought captive to obey Christ, being ready to punish every disobedience with obedience complete. This part is one of my favorite parts of my next coming book, because God gave me insight saying, you know what? You have to know to cast down. If you don't know the word, you ain't going to know what to cast down. That's why you got to know this thing like the Bereans. That said, when the apostles were talking, they said, oh, okay, well, sit right here. I'm going to go to the word myself to find out what you're saying is true. But so many people are too strong up here that nothing gets down here. That's why we have to be so endeavoring to be balanced, so that when we receive and hear, the 5th week of this message, I'm going to talk about the process of bearing fruit. We're going to talk about how to hear, how to understand, so that you can bear fruit. When you know the truth will either set you free or make you upset about its truth. Meaning, when you hear the truth about foods or the truth about what the Bible says, you find it's really true, if you choose to go against it, you just don't want to be free. But when you study the truth and you understand it, that's what the Bible says, you got to preach so that even babies understand. Because Jesus wasn't that deep, y'all. He was talking about soils. He wasn't talking about Greek and Hebrew and chopping words together. He was trying to keep it simple so that if you don't want it, it just shows the condition of your heart. So, great question. They received it in hearing, but didn't receive it through understanding.